I wish I could do that thing I've always wanted to do. Yeah, but you're too afraid. Silencio Bruno! Luca, another Pixar movie, and am I getting sick of Pixar films? No. Am I sick that it didn't get a theatrical release? Yes. Luca is set in Italy, and I love films with culture, and that's why I love Coco so much. This film is so summery and it's so funny and it's so light-hearted, and I just love it just because of those aspects. And it's about Luca who goes to this Italian town, but he's holding in a deep secret that he is a sea monster because this town hates sea monsters. Luca follows the storyline where it's about two friends who meet and they enter a race to win enough money to buy a Vespa, and yes, that's the storyline, and yes, I loved it. Two friends, Luca and Alberto, resurface and they meet Julia, and those three enter the race where one has to swim, one has to eat pasta, and one has to cycle, and I guess that's what you call an Italian triathlon. And this story is just about friendship and acceptance and pasta. A lot of pasta. It is so Italian.
Even lasagna.
And literally every YouTube review of this film I've watched, everyone is hating on it because it's so simple and it's not about some profound existential crisis like Soul, Inside Out, Coco, where it just rips you apart emotionally, and that's why I really love this film. I don't know if it's one of my favourites, but it is definitely really high, definitely up there, because it's just so simple, so light-hearted that you can just sit back and relax and enjoy a film without having to think about your life up until that point. And just this film is so happy, and I didn't get emotionally destroyed like I did with Coco and Inside Out. And people have the nerve to complain about that. Why can't Pixar just for once in their life create a simple storyline and it not completely wreck you emotionally? And that is just why I love this film so much. And the theme that pushes this story along is that Luca and Alberto are sea monsters, and so when they're in this Italian town that hates sea monsters, they have to like conceal their identity, and there's loads of funny scenes where they get wet and they're exposed as sea monsters and they need to quickly dry off, and it gave me a lot of H2O moments. But in this they just need to wipe themselves down and then they're dry and then they look human again, whereas in H2O they just need to steam up, need Ricky to steam them. Jacob Tremblay voices Luca, and I love everything he's in. Wanda literally ripped me apart. And Jackson Grazer voices Alberto, and I love it. I don't like horror films and I love it. And their voices for Luca and Alberto just fit so well, and they really sold me on their friendship and they really sold me on this story.
Can you still hear him?
Nope, just you.
And literally just every voice actor in this, I loved it. And I love the animation style. People were complaining as well about the animation, that it didn't feel like a Pixar film. I just loved it. I loved the simpleness of it all. And simple may seem like that could be a negative thing, but it's just refreshing. I felt this story was refreshing, and because like the storyline and the film itself is just so simple, you can interpret it in any way, and so it can be so broad, your interpretation of this film, and so doesn't that make it even better? Anyone can connect to it, anyone can feel for these characters. And I just loved the whole thing, not being afraid to accept who you are. Once people like see the real you, once people see that you're a good person, they won't fear you. And like the climax of this film, which is a spoiler, is where Alberto's storyline is that his father is away, which at first you think, oh, his father's just gone away, but then later you find that he's been like jotting down each day since his father left, and so he's without a father. And then Luca befriends Alberto, and then he befriends Julia, and they kind of get more close, whereas Alberto is kind of pushed out, and that explains why he gets jealous.
We underdogs have to look out for each other.
What's under the dogs?
And then he's so jealous that he threatens to expose Luca, but he actually exposes himself as a sea monster, and Luca shouts, pointing, "Ah, sea monster!" So he has to swim away and escape, but then Julia's freaking out like, what? Oh my god, what's going on? And she throws water over Luca and exposes him as a sea monster. And instead of her screaming like, ah, it's a sea monster, get away from me, she is understanding and accepts him for who he is, but fears for his safety, and that's why she kind of like rejects him to get away. And you just feel for both of these boys so much, because all they really want is a Vespa. Once Luca realizes how much of a dick he is after leaving Alberto out in the dirt, exposing himself as a sea monster and not exposing himself as one too.
What's wrong with you, stupido?
He wants to apologize and make it up for him, so he enters the race by himself to win the Vespa. And there is a big climatic emotional moment where it starts raining down, and obviously if he gets hit by water, he's going to turn into a sea monster, and all the townspeople are going to see that he is a sea monster, and then run him out of town with pitchforks. And then you see Alberto running up the hill with an umbrella. Both of them get exposed as sea monsters, and then there's a big thing of people wanting to kill them. But Julia's dad is the first person to step forward and accept them for who they are, and then the rest of the townspeople agree to do it too. And then these two old ladies turn out to be sea monsters as well. I didn't see that coming. I should have seen it coming, but I didn't, and I loved it. And the townspeople accept the sea monsters, but then people accepting people. Like, it's just such a beautiful storyline. And the film's ending is literally just perfect. Another spoiler, they win the race and they get the money to buy the Vespa, and it's a really bad broken Vespa, but they love it because they finally got what they were dreaming about this whole time. But Alberto realizes that there's more to life than just riding a Vespa, because Luca just wants to go to school with Julia. And so without Luca knowing, he sells the Vespa and uses the money to buy him a train ticket and get him to go to the school with Julia. And Luca's family, who was rejecting of the above sea, the land people, they agreed to let him go. Everyone's story arc is just tied up so nicely. The parents aren't afraid of land. They become accepting of Luca wanting to be above land. Luca gets to go off to school. He gets to learn. Alberto has a father figure in Julia's father. And I'm just going to keep repeating myself. The film's simplicity makes it more lovable. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it once because I am going to contradict myself with when I say it. So, I hated it. I've only seen it once, and I think I also fell asleep at one point. Maybe it's because I was just tired, and maybe I didn't get the film. I understand it's about your soul, it's about living your one life, spend it correctly, and you don't feel like you wasted it. Like, that's just so much, that's so deep, that's so heavy for a kid's film. So that's more like what feels like an adult film, just like Cruella, the recent live action from Disney, that feels like more of an adult's film. Luca, it's for everyone, it's for kids. I'm a kid, I loved it. I didn't want to feel overwhelmed, and this film didn't make me feel overwhelmed. I felt so relaxed and I enjoyed every single part of it. The comedy was hilarious. There's just like the right amount. It wasn't over the top. The emotions, they weren't dramatic. This film is so peaceful, and although you got that threat where the two kids are trying not to be exposed to sea monsters, it's so lighthearted how they do it with the cat. The cat is probably one of the most iconic characters. I just loved everything about this film. I loved the summery vibes. I loved the Italian culture. I loved the voice actors. I loved the animation. I loved the colours, the brightness of it all. To put it simply, I loved it. Not my favourite Pixar film. I'm not going to put it top one, but it's probably top up there. I don't know how much this review made sense, but thanks for watching anyway. If you like this video, please leave it a like and subscribe for more. Bye! Luca is about a fish out of water. Is that too much?